You're listening to the Option Alpha podcast from optionalpha.com, where we show you how to make smarter trades, learn how the stock market really works, and generate consistent monthly income. Now, your host and head trader at optionalpha.com, Kirk Duplessis.
Hey everyone, this is Kirk here again from optionalpha.com, working every single week to make this the most popular investing podcast offered in iTunes and online because it's based on one thing and one thing only, and that's helping you make smarter trades. So thanks so much for tuning in today. We've got an awesome episode ready for you guys with Sarah Potter from shecantrade.com. And admittedly, we actually recorded this episode a little while back and we had tagged it as episode number 33. So this is show number 33 in case you're heading over to the blog or the podcast and want to check out the show notes. And we just had to work through some of the other episodes before we actually got to this one. But as we kind of end the summer and most kids get back to school, I know most parents are getting back to school, this is a great episode to get you reignited with trading and re-energized with trading because it's a long interview with Sarah, but we went into so many different topics. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about Sarah before we actually get started. Now, she, of course, is the founder of shecantrade.com and is also an author of the book, How You Can Trade Like a Pro. And you can find all of this in the show notes page at optionalpha.com/show33. But she's a full-time active trader in both the options futures market. She's been featured in places like The Street and Yahoo Finance and AOL Daily Finance. So she's very active in the trading community. And more recently, actually a little bit after this interview was actually recorded, I found out that she actually started doing some teaching and some speaking with TradeStation through kind of their touring traders platform. So if you want to learn more about Sarah, obviously, again, go to the show notes page. You can do so, but we'll get right into the interview here today. And one quick tip as we get started here is that the most important thing from this interview that I think you'll find towards the end is that, even though this was our first time really talking and interviewing each other, is that we had very much the same common themes throughout our trading. We may differ in some of our strategy and techniques and how we do things, but the same major building blocks of what we think makes successful traders are the same themes that were prevalent throughout the interview. So pay attention to that, especially towards the end when we talk about risk management and position sizing. I think you'll find it really, really interesting. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into the interview with Sarah. All right, so we have Sarah on the phone. Sarah, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So let's get right into it because I've already kind of intro you to the viewers in the start of this podcast, but can you just walk through and kind of tell everyone a little bit about your background just really quickly and what you did before trading and then how you got into trading or how long you've been trading?
Sure. So first off, I'm going to start out by saying, full disclosure here, I do not have a background in finance or trading, and I think I am a good representative for people to realize that anybody can learn to trade themselves, and anybody can do this, because certainly I learned to do it. And if I can, you can.
Perfect.
But prior to trading, I was a learning consultant. So I used to create professional development, things to help adults learn better. I have a master's of education in adult learning theory. And so really when I decided to really get down to it in terms of tackling trading, I said, you know what, I'm going to learn how to do this for myself because I wanted to have control over my finances and my investing decisions. So I took the information that I knew about learning and how to learn best and applied that to trading and taught myself to trade.
That is so cool. And so my wife is a teacher as well. And so I don't know if you knew that, but she's an educator too. And I know you're not a teacher, but you teach, people how to learn and Lord knows that us adults that trade, we need all the learning and mentoring we can get, right? So real quick before, and I didn't know that before. So when it comes to learning, maybe one or two quick things that would help people when they're learning is how can they learn better? What are some kind of hacks or tips on how to learn better when you're tackling a topic like trading?
The biggest thing that what I always stress with people, and it really has to do with brain theory, not as much trading, is we typically in our brains, when we're learning something new, we are only going to really be able to retain 3 new concepts at most. Generally, people can actually keep less than those things. So when you're trying to learn something new, think about it in terms of threes. Don't try to pick up more than 3 things in like a webinar you're watching, or if you're placing trades, three is a general good rule for you to actually remember something in order to actually apply it. So what that means then is if you're learning something, let's say you're coming to one of my webinars and I'm talking about how to sell credit spreads as an options trading strategy, I would suggest that what your goal would be to take out of that webinar is three things. Don't try to remember absolutely everything because your brain won't know how to connect it and make it relevant for you to apply it to actually trading. So three is good.
That's so funny because the show notes for this podcast that we're recording right now is going to be optionalpha.com/show 33. So it couldn't have been better that you said you got to do three things. So optionalpha.com/show 33 and you get all the links and show notes. So, all right. So you started out trading yourself and teaching yourself. So can you walk through just for a little bit, kind of your progression in where you started as far as strategies and maybe indicators and how that's changed over time? So are you doing the same things that you did before, or if you're not, what has been a really big change in your strategy?
Okay, so when I first started trading, I was doing that part time. So I was getting up in the morning, and I still had to go to work for 9 o'clock because I was still working as a consultant. So what I was doing was focused on futures, and I was getting up early in the morning, and I was trading the euro. So I don't do that anymore because I don't have to wake up that early anymore. So that's a big shift of where I started to. Futures is nice because it teaches you a lot of really good elements to collect good evidence from the market. I certainly credit a lot of my experience today to a lot of the hours that I put in just sitting and watching price and how price was moving in individual markets. But where I've transitioned, obviously, one, I've moved from trading part time to full time. So I don't do my other career anymore. This is more lucrative for me, so I trade for a living. And I've also really shifted. I have a very young daughter. So these days, all basically what I'm doing most often is trading options. Options allow a lot more flexibility, so I can place my trades. I don't have to be staring at the market the whole day. I can still do stuff with her, and then I can come back and trade some more. So I think it allows a lifestyle that I really like. So I've transitioned from the markets shifting, and then also in terms of individual trades, I think what most people do when they get started is they try all sorts of different strategies because they're trying to just grab for anything that works. So over the 7 years that I've been really doing this seriously, is I've really cut down the strategies that I actually apply to the market and really only use the ones that make me the most money.
That's such a great topic too, because and we talked about earlier is that we both have daughters that are young, and I watch my daughter all day while my wife's at work. And so for my lifestyle too is that I need to have things that don't require me to be glued to the screen all day. And I think your point about cutting down the number of trades or strategies that you're using is really important, because I think that we tend to be the jack of all trades. I mean, no pun intended, but we try to, understand a little bit of everything. And maybe it's so important that people, start diving deeper with one, two, or three strategies that they really, really can understand, and just wait for opportunities to make trades in that particular strategy.
Exactly. So everyone always said at the beginning, "Hey, I've got to learn everything I can," and then they go to the market and say, "Well, I'm a trader, so I have to place a trade today, or I have to place a trade right now." There's that urgency in us for some reason. But what you want to look at, if you wrote down all of your strategies, or even better, if you look back at your trading journal and said, "What are the strategies that make me the most money?" You want to almost have a competition with them because you only have so much money in your account that you can use to apply to place trades. You want all those trades to be profitable. I'm very much known for my trading consistency, so profitable trades week after week. So I know exactly what strategies make me the most money when the market is moving in a certain direction. So I'm not going to waste time wasting margin in my account placing other trades that aren't going to be that same consistency that I like to use and apply in the market. So refine until you find the strategies that make you the most money.
Myself. That's perfect. So when we dig a little bit deeper now into that topic, what are some of the things that you will look for when placing, new trades? So you said that, you're looking for things in the market, and one of your big things that you talk about all the time in some of your videos is building a case, for a stock. So what are the things that, can build a case for this trade that you're making? So what are the things that you look for specifically when you're trying to find a new setup? And then possibly what strategies are you using to take advantage of that market?
Yeah, so I'm always scouring the market every day and looking for great stocks to obviously place trades in. And just with same with the strategies, I've also done the same thing with stocks. I've really refined the stocks down into ones that I like to place the trades in week after week. I should also mention that these days, what I'm doing most often, the strategies that work the best for me are weekly options. And within weekly options, I like to sell spreads, so sell credit spreads. I like debit spreads. I like directional strategies, so buying calls and puts. And generally that's really what I stick to because those make the most money for me. Rather than, options, there's countless ways of placing trades, and I just don't bother with many of them. With the way that the market's moving now, I think those three strategies are the best way to take advantage of price moving. But anyways, look, moving back to kind of stocks, is you kind of want to go through and find stocks that I think have lots of credit in them, or generally are ones that lots of other people are talking about, popular stocks.
That's important too because you want to trade things that are really liquid. So, I'm a big proponent of, narrowing down your watch list to really liquid stocks, which could be stocks that are really hot right now that people are talking about, whether it's a GoPro or Twitter or Netflix, whatever the